As we move into the third part of Pilate's attempt to release Jesus, Matthew 27:15 through 23 and 27:27 through 30, Pilate gave the order, and his soldiers took Jesus into the palace, as known as the Praetorium, and they called the whole company of soldiers together. And now we're looking at a detachment is called a Speria, and that is 600 men. What are they afraid of? It's not likely that there were as many in Jerusalem. These soldiers were Pilate's bodyguard and accompanied him from Caesarea and were permanently headquartered there. They stripped him. Prisoners crucified were often nailed to the cross naked to increase the humiliation. Jesus has not been crucified yet, but the humiliation begins, and he's publicly stripped. Dressed him in a purple robe, and put a reed in his hand as a staff. And kings and rulers wore scarlet, wore purple, because they dyed the fabric. Kings held scepters, and here they put a reed in his hand. Made a crown of thorns and put it in Jesus' head. Now these thorns aren't like the ones in the United States. They are thorns. And of course we find that they drive it right into the skull of the victim. Kings were honored. They offered to worship. Hail, King of the Jews, they taunted. Kings greeted with royal titles. And they spit on him, slapped him, kept hitting him on the head with a reed, and then they fell on their knees and pretended to worship him. Now they shifted from mockery to cruelty. They seized an iron scepter, took off the royal robe, spit on him, and beat him with their fists. Jesus is going to be almost unrecognizable. We look at at Jesus in this, and Spurgeon put it this way: it is possible for us to mock Jesus today by the way we live. You have mocked him by a feigned worship, and thus you have put on a purple robe upon him. The purple robe meant that he was a nominal king, a king that was not truth. Your Sunday religion, which is forgotten in a week, because the scepter is a reed, powerless and a mere shame. You mock and insult him, even in your hymns and prayers, for your religion is a pretense with no heart in it. You brought him adoration, but that was no adoration, a confession with no confession, a prayer with no prayer. It is not so.